Welcome back to the Full Force Fathers podcast, episode number 96, Dave. And I really can't believe it, to be honest with you. Like, for some reason, like 95 didn't do it, 85 didn't do it, but at being 96, 3 episodes away from the great one, and just, it's insane to me that we're almost 100 episodes.
We've been doing this for a long time. It feels good too. I think we're bringing some good content to the folks out there. We've been getting some good feedback from some folks, which is great. And we're coming off of championship weekend here, so good show in store. I see you've got a 49ers shirt on. Congratulations to you. But yeah, I'm doing good, man.
49ers shirt is a reppin'. We're going to talk about the game in a minute. We're going to talk about the weekend in a minute. We're going to talk about the IU catch, which just doesn't even make any sense. We're going to talk about how the NFL's rigged. Well, dude, but first of all, let me just tell you something. Like, I love podcasting. I love doing this. And I just think the 9 to 5 Monday through Friday is a complete fucking scam. I was talking to my buddy about it this morning because he texted me this morning. I'm like, what's up, brother, man? What are you up to? And he's like, just typing away on my keyboard. And I'm like, dude, it's such a fucking scam, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not great. I mean, listen, if you have the right job, that's an awesome thing. And I love mine right now. But when I was doing my own thing, doing the real estate, doing the freelance directing, there was just such a nice piece of that, of just kind of controlling your own schedule, being your own boss, doing the things that you needed to do to get yourself better, take care of your family and so forth, and not having to report to anybody at any time. I did enjoy that.
Yeah, it's just like, I mean, I get it. There's always going to be 9 to 5s. I totally get it. But the idea of grinding away and stressing away, I mean, the statistics aren't going to lie. God, probably 75% of people hate their fucking jobs for 2 days off on the weekend just to come back and start all over again on a Monday morning, which I don't mind. Mondays don't bother me. I like my job. I kind of am my own boss. And, my success in my career is 100% banked on me being motivated, me being disciplined, me being, it falls on me all the time. I bring in my own business. I don't get business from anybody else. I have to get it. I have to do a good job. I have to get referrals from that way. That's how I make a living. And I love it. And I love that lifestyle. But like, I love helping people into homes. But man, I just feel like, wow, as you all know, passionate, find your passion and all that other stuff. And the guy that you know real well, that you were, Ken Coleman, like, I mean, he's the best out there when it comes to finding your job and finding your this and finding your that. And sometimes I just feel like, man, there's so many people out there. Like, if that's your response on a Monday morning is just miserable typing away on your keyboard, man, you got to figure something out. You know what I mean?
It does sound like a pretty miserable existence. It really does. That sounds like an absolutely miserable existence, to come in after a weekend and know that you have 5 days of stuff that you hate to do in front of you. It sounds awful.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's not what today's show about. That just was something. The other cool thing I just received an email right before we hit record. So this past weekend we were at Catalina State Park. You know that place real well, but there's water because they got a bunch of snow up at the top of Mount Lemmon and all their stuff. And all the animal guys were back. And it was really cool. We like those guys. And Finley was holding the snakes all weekend and the scorpions and all that good jazz. But this week, Jim was there, and Jim does the spirit animal for the kids. So what you do is you put your hand on a piece of paper and you trace it, and then you write your name, and then on the back of the page, you write your email address. And he goes home and he buries it in the sand overnight, and he speaks to his Indian shaman people and all that other cool stuff. And then they tell you the next week you can go back and they'll tell you what your spirit animal is, or he emails it to you. So right before we jumped on, he just emailed me what Finley's spirit animal is, and it's a coyote. She's going to lose it because she loves animals. She is my animal lover out of all of my children in terms of desert creatures.
That's cool.
And the fact that he made a picture with her handprint, and in the handprint is the picture of like a coyote pup. And that's her spirit animal, dude. It's so fucking cool, dude. I love, you know what I mean? I love that spiritual shit too, dude. I love all that Indian stuff. It's awesome.
Yeah, man. That's great.
But,
yeah, I used to love going to Saturday, that Saturday thing at Catalina. That was always so much fun. So yeah, she'll love that. That's fantastic. Coyote.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna print it and put it in a frame for her because it's like a nice picture with her handprint, her name that she wrote, and her handwriting and all the other stuff. But let's hop into today's show.
Really
we have episode number 96. Number 96 is not off the charts great. In my eyes, in my opinion, it's just three numbers away from the great one. So I'm excited about that. are not going to be ready for that, dude. The other night I was scrolling, dude. The amount of records that Wayne Gretzky has is so fucking ridiculous, dude. It's insane. But we're not talking about the great one today. We're talking about 96. Cortez Kennedy. This one I think is interesting. So Cortez Kennedy was the 1992 Defensive Player of the Year. He's an 8-time Pro Bowler and a 3-time All-Pro. The next guy on everyone's list was Clyde Simmons. He was a 2-time All-Pro, 2-time Pro Bowler. He led the NFL in sacks in 1992, but Cortez Kennedy was the 1992 Defensive Player of the Year. So I thought that was kind of strange. They both were dominant in 92, but the sack leader didn't win Defensive Player of the Year. A different defensive tackle won Defensive Player of the Year.
Interesting.
And then you had Gary Walker.
Yeah, that's it.
Gary Walker, 2-time Pro Bowler. And I think the most ironic of all the number 96 is Carlos Dunlap. We remember him because he played in our generation. We remember Carlos Dunlap. 2-time Pro Bowler.
Mm-hmm.
Wore number 96, finished with 96 career sacks.
Hey, that's pretty great, man. How about that? Ended on your own number that you play with for your career. That's awesome. Yeah, not a super stellar NFL list there, not going to lie. I was expecting more for some of these mid-90s numbers, and we're just not getting them.
You're right. But, what else we got?
NASCAR. So no real success with the 96 car, but some really big names drove this car for short stints. So Bobby Labonte, he was a household name for a long time.
Yep.
Richard Childress of Richard Childress Racing, before it became Richard Childress Racing, drove the 96. And Dale Earnhardt drove the 96 for 4 races. None of those guys won with the 96 car. The 96, I think, only has 2 or 3 actual trips to victory lane. But some big names that drove the 96 car. I thought that was interesting.
You know, NASCAR is such an interesting sport in general because, like, for you and I, right, you're 40, I'm 38. Like, it is strange to me, NASCAR nowadays. I don't know any NASCAR drivers outside of Joey Logano. I think that's it. But, like, I don't know any other, like, it's because all the greats, right? I swear the NASCAR's greatest era was Earnhardt, Gordon, Tony Stewart, the Labonte brothers, Dale Jarrett. Like, think of all the great NASCAR drivers that all drove at the same exact time. Now, I literally,
that's true.
Okay, I lied. I know Joey Logano and the Bush brothers. That's it. I'm pretty sure those are the only guys I know that race. I think they do. I don't really know. I don't really know though, because I don't follow NASCAR. Yeah. But back then, dude, you had Dale Jr., you had Jimmy Johnson. Like, dude, that mid 90s to like that 2004 was insane.
Yep. Yeah, it
insane
was.
talent.
I was into it then. It was fun, man. Some of the races that, Gordon and Stewart. I was a Tony Stewart fan because he was racing for Home Depot at the time, so I was a huge fan of his. So there was always those battles back and forth, and then Jimmy Johnson with the Lowe's car. Like, it was always something going on, which was a lot of fun.
And those guys, you like knew their number. Like, I don't know what number Joey Logano drives or Bush or whatever, but like you knew Gordon was 24. You knew Jimmy Johnson was 40. You knew Tony Stewart was 20. You knew Dale Jarrett was 88. You knew Earnhardt was 3, right? You knew those guys. Waltrip. Like, it's like, we don't even know who those people. I knew who their sponsors were. I don't even know who the sponsors on NASCAR are anymore.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Yep. So maybe it's because I just don't follow it.
Yeah.
In one more sports, this is sports related. We're not going to talk about it. Hats off to Sinner. He won the Australian Open. Someone outside of Novak Djokovic won the Australian Open for the first time in forever. So hats off to that Italian kid. He's got a great future, it looks like. But let's just hope that these young guys can stick with it, because there's always been a young guy that's come up. Dominic Thiem, Medvedev, Alcaraz, and then they all flop and Novak wins and Roger wins and Rafa wins. You know what I mean? So Medvedev, I do feel for the kid. He's been to 6 major finals or 5 major finals. He only has 1 win. He's lost 3 times there, and he blew a 2-0 lead. But hats off to Sinner. He knocked Djokovic off in the semis, which already is a major champion in my book. And then the fact that he came back from 2 sets of love against Med, cool, good for him. On with the show. Bible verse. I think it's fitting, and I think I'm kind of sticking with modern day, how much the Bible, that's such a thousands and thousands of year old book, relates to today's modern time. And I'm going to say this, and you're going to understand it instantly. Proverbs 29:4. By justice, a king gives a country stability, but those who are greedy for bribes tears it down. Tell me what you think. I don't even need to speak on it.
Dude, it's exactly what's happening right now in our country. It is, I mean, to the T. Like, oh, this wasn't written thousands of years ago. This was written this week. But no, it's true, man. Um, Country stability, we had it for a really long time, and it's been starting to downgrade and downgrade and downgrade. And now we're at the point where you see it, the bribes. You hear about all the bribes that were happening with Biden and how much money is being laundered his way, and the rest of the Democratic Party and Republicans too, for that matter. It's not just Democrats; it's across the board. Like, these people have gone into a public service job where they're supposed to be taking care of the country, moving the country forward, having our best interest in mind, when the only interest they have is their own. They're lining their pockets. They find ways to launder money, steal money. And now we're in the situation that we're in right now, which is pretty ugly.
Dude, bribes. Like, is that word not like exactly? Like, we are sending money to other countries to bring it back in and grease the pockets of our congressmen and congresswomen. They are of the same evil, the right and the left, the Democrat and the Republican. This is not a shot at either side. It's both. It's fucking pathetic. Since when does the government control what the people do? They are public servants. The people are supposed to know what's going on in the government, but the government wants to know everything that we're doing. That's right there. It's already broken. It's completely broken and backwards. And then the money. I mean, think about this. This is the shit that I don't understand. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know if this means I lean right or lean left. How are these fucking asshole mega donors allowed to fund campaigns for people to run for president? These PACs or super PACs or whatever they call them. And then they get to fucking write it off on their taxes. Like, how is this possible that this is allowed to help elect? So if you donate because it's a donation, like, so you can slander the other candidate, whether it's the left slandering the right, or it's the right slandering the left, or it's the people in the same party slandering each other, but you can write it's a donation? Like, what the fuck are we doing? Go out and win and run on the basis of you wanting to fucking love the country and love the people and help the people, and win on your own. Like, we have mega donors, I mean billionaires, that are just donating hundreds of millions of dollars to these campaigns. For what? I mean, it's a fucking joke. It's a complete fucking joke. The system is completely broken. Completely broken. It's all about the dollar. It's all about money and power. And it's so ass backwards and it's so broken that it literally makes me sick to my fucking stomach to watch it and listen to it. Biden said this. Trump said this. Haley said this. This guy's donating money. This one's this. You're that. Like, no, dude, how about you just care about the fucking people? Let me tell you one thing. I've never once been asked by a congressman, apparently they work for us, hey, what do you think of this bill that we're trying to pass? Like, don't you need your constituents to fucking agree with what you're doing? Never once. The newest one that makes me the most mad is this border security bullshit. Our border should be secure. We shouldn't have to pass a bill in Congress to make our fucking border secure. It's obvious. I don't give a shit if you like the right or the left. People are pouring in this country by the thousands every single day, which is making our country more and more poor and more dangerous. And they're fighting about it in Washington because they really don't give a fuck. They just want to know who gets paid the most to do it. It's completely ludicrous. And if you ask the everyday human and the everyday American, they don't care what we think. They do not care what we think. Not one person has asked me, hey, what do you think? So who's actually writing these bills, and who are they getting approved by? If they're supposed to work for us, they're supposed to have our best interests in mind, but it's not even that's not even close to what's really happening. And now we're on the fucking verge of a war. Three American servicemen just got killed by Iran-backed militia. Like, are you fucking? This is insane. We live in a clown world, complete clown world.
Yeah, we do. The thing that always amazes me is that we can't come to an agreement. They've done such a good job of dividing our country that you mean to tell me we can't come to an agreement that people shouldn't be just flooding across the border without caring or knowing who they are, where they've been, what they've done. Like, that to me is absolutely insane. These people are coming into our country, going to our neighborhoods. There's, like you said, increased crime that's coming from that. There's the economy is going to suffer from that. We're putting these people up. We're giving them cell phones. We're giving them money. They're taking jobs. They're doing all this. There was a system in place for immigration and a system that worked. There was a reason why people wanted to come to the greatest country in the world, because it was a place where they could find hope for a new life. And I'm all for immigration. I think it's really important to bring in people from different cultures into our country, but that want to be an American, right? They want to be an American. They don't want to be in their country anymore. Yes, they're bringing their culture and some of their thoughts and things like that here, but they're sharing that as part of the American culture, the most diverse culture in the world. And we're just letting people in, man. Have at it. Come on in. Nobody cares. Open the borders. We are, I think, on the brink of war. You mentioned that. There's a truck convoy now headed to Texas. They left today. They're on their way to Texas. They're going to go to Yuma, and they're going to a spot in California as well. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. They're already talking about the fact that there's probably going to be Antifa that works themselves into it to create a mess and create a look that these freedom-loving Americans are the ones causing problems. And I think it goes back to, we talked about it before, this vision that they're trying to paint and divide us even more, I think is going to continue to happen until the next election. And
if we have one,
we'll see where we go from there. But yeah, if we have one, because if we're in a full out war with some country at that point, they're just going to say, nope, we can't do an election right now because we're in a war. And that's going to be that. So.
Well, this is the other thing, the other part of this equation that just makes no sense to me. So the state of Texas wants to keep its own border secure to protect their citizens, the state. And we have a sitting U.S. president who does not want Texas to have a secure border. They want a complete open border. They want federal agents, Border Patrol, federally funded, federal employees to overstep and make Texas employees cut down razor wire or don't put any more up. Okay, there's like just say that out loud in a sentence. We have a sitting U.S. president who wants a state to eliminate its border so people can just come across. They want to give these people cell phones. I'm sorry, this mysterious bill that they've been writing, I'm not okay with 5,000 people a day. That was like the compromise, 5,000 people a day to come through. Like, they've had more people almost in the 3 years since this asshole's been in office come through the southern border illegally than legal people did when Ellis Island was open for years and years and years and years. Dude, they had no problem coming through Ellis Island. They got paperwork. They got documented. They were given times and things that they had to do. Dude, these people coming through the southern border are just walking on in and doing whatever the fuck they want. Like, think about that out loud. How is that okay? How can you be okay with telling your citizens of one of your states, sorry, we don't want you to control the border. We don't want you to have it closed. We want it completely open. How, like say that out loud. I don't care if you're a Democrat and you listen to my show, or if you're a Republican and listen to my show. Why are we fighting over a border security bill? It should just be a fucking given. Sovereign nations have borders, period.
I got a question for you. I'm just going to throw this out at you. We've talked about how they're looking to increase the divide, the tension in this country. Why did it take Abbott getting to January of 2024 before he did this? He's been busing people around the country.
Yeah.
Immigrants or migrants that have come into the country, into Texas. He's been busing them all over the country for years now.
Mm-hmm.
Years he's been doing that. Why now? Listen, I'm happy we're doing something now. That's great. Yeah. But is it just to poke? Is it just to poke right now? Is that what it's for? Is that the ulterior motive here? Is it actually to protect Texas, or is it more to create more of a divide right now?
I mean, it's a good point. Either way, it could be anything. Because you're right. Why would it take him 2 years to do this? Why didn't he just do this in day one when Biden ripped up the fucking bill that says, sorry, Donald Trump's executive order to build the wall has been torn up on day one. Why did it take him till 3 years into the presidency to do something like this? It's a good question. I don't have an answer for it. But you're right. The division has never been greater. And it's continuing down this path. You know, and to put the Supreme Court, and they get the Supreme Court involved, and the Supreme Court side, and this is what it just proves, that it doesn't matter who. I love all the people that say, oh, the Democrats are going to get the Supreme Court seat, or the Republicans are going to get the Supreme Court seat, and then it's going to go one way or the other. Well, this is a complete opposite. Okay, everyone's worried about abortion on the Supreme Court, and this on the Supreme Court, and election on the Supreme Court. But guess what? Guess what the so-called conservative bench did? They sided with Biden in the Supreme Court. So if anybody thinks that because Trump put people on the bench, or Obama or Clinton or Bush or Biden, which he's not going to get a chance to, you think, or Biden got one on there. Think about that for a second. They don't care deep down inside, because this supposedly a conservative bench voted with the left to agree with Texas not being allowed to put razor wire up. So I don't know. Like I said, and I know that's a jab at Trump supporters. It's really not. But it's just the fact of the matter is, these people, they can't be trusted at any level. They can't be trusted, because if a conservative bench said leave the border open, then that goes against everything that all Trump supporters said about whoever he put on there, Kavanaugh.
Listen, I know that there's people to the extreme left, there's people to the extreme right, and there's the rest of us, the vast majority of us, probably 80%, that land somewhere in the middle here. And I still can't believe that if you were to go up to any of those 80% of the people and you said, are you safer now than you were 4 years ago? That they wouldn't say, no. Do you have more money in your bank account than you did 4 years ago? And the answer would be no.
Mm-hmm.
Are the cost of goods, gas, food, cheaper now than they were 4 years ago? The answer would be no. And the list goes on and on. Is the education system better? No. Is our infrastructure better? No. Like I said, it goes on and on, man. We are in a really terrible position right now across this country. It's sad to see, and I think we just need to have conversations with each other to realize that there are more people that think the way that we do, that are more moderate, that are just in a place of like, yeah, something needs to change here. And it's not what they're showing us on TV on either side. They're all corrupt. They're all lying. But boots on the ground, what is it actually like? I think the majority of the people all believe the same sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. You're right. We're all, the majority of Americans want the same thing: safety, and and the chance at financial security and things of that nature, for sure. There's the extreme on both sides, and if you it's all about finding middle ground, common ground, and unfortunately Congress isn't that at all. But anyways, enough on this topic. The Bible verse really got me going down a rabbit hole there, and let's talk about my 49ers. Let's just talk about my 49ers in the Super Bowl again. It is just another proven fact. The only thing that wasn't rigged in that football game last night was the Brandon Ayuk catch off the helmet. Everything else made no fucking sense. The Niners are down 24-7, can't stop anything.
Totally rigged.
100% can't stop anybody. And then all of a sudden the Lions give up 27 straight points without scoring. And the only time they scored was the garbage time touchdown with 56 seconds to go. Make it make sense. I can't make it make sense. I have no excuse. There's nothing. There's nothing. How they won the football game. We talked at halftime. And I said, I'm going to take a shower. I'm going to take the dog out. I got stuff to do. And I was like, I can't. Like, it makes zero sense. Zero sense. So.
Yeah, Bryce went to bed and the Lions were blowing the 49ers out. He was rooting for your 49ers last night. And he's like, I might have to switch teams. Like, you can't switch teams. Root for the 49ers. He goes, but they're getting destroyed. I go, they're going to come back and win. Like, just the script is written. They're going to come back and win. Sure enough, they did. Dan Campbell, he goes for it on fourth down more than anybody else. But you know what's funny? He didn't do it at the end of the first half when he had all the momentum in the world and he kicked 3 points. He kicked for 3 from the 3-yard line. Like, give me a break.
Yeah.
But then in the third and fourth quarters, when they're hemorrhaging points to the other team, they decide to go for it on these 4th and 3 situations and don't get either of them. I mean, like, Reynolds just drops the ball. Yeah, it wasn't the best pass, but like, he just dropped the football. Like, are you serious? Absolutely ludicrous that they didn't kick two field goals there that they couldn't get any stop whatsoever. The big plays down the field, like it was just like two completely different football teams. It was like looking at the Chiefs out there in the first half playing against the 49ers, and then looking at the playoff Dallas Cowboys in the second half. Like it was truly unbelievable. I just unbelievable to the point at which it's not believable, folks, because it's scripted. I will still stand by that. Yes, I had said last week that the Ravens were going to win, but what I miscalculated here is that the NFL wants Taylor Swift in the Super Bowl more than they wanted the purple from the Super Bowl logo of the Ravens. So that wasn't said at the beginning of the season, like they had picked the Ravens. Taylor Swift came in a few games into the season. They had to pivot because ratings, that's what we're going to do. We're going to make more money. So now it's the Chiefs and it's the 49ers. The 49ers stuck to script. Good for them. Congratulations on making it to the scripted Super Bowl. I can't wait to see how this script plays out.
Oh, dude, I'm going to initial reaction is Travis Kelce catches the game-winning touchdown. That's just my guess, but that's it. That's it. But we'll see.
Got the Taylor Swift in the box. Jeez.
Yeah. Oh, just she's down on the field and da-da-da. It's perfect. Listen, it is brilliant by the NFL and the government. It's brilliant. It's 100% brilliant for those that are completely naive and don't understand what actually goes on in the world. But it was funny to see the Niners come back. Like I said, I can't make anything of it. 27 points straight. You know, if you're of the mindset that the NFL is not rigged, then Dan Campbell followed his own script. He always goes for it on fourth down. But let me say one thing. There's two things. The NFC Championship game is not the regular season number one. And so you take points on the road every time. You always do. No matter what, you take points on the road. Number two, going for it on fourth down all the time gets you fired. Just ask Staley from the Chargers this year. Aggressive to the point of ridiculousness. Went for it on all the fourth downs on his own side of the field, not on his own side of the field. The guy's out of a job. I'm not saying Campbell's going to be out of a job. He obviously made it to the NFC Championship. He took a completely terrible franchise who's had zero success since Barry Sanders left. And they've had greats. I mean fucking great. Calvin Johnson, Matthew Stafford, not able to do anything. And he gets him the NFC Championship. So he's not going anywhere. But eventually going for it on every fourth down gets you fired. This is a win now league, not a, so we'll see. Other than that, Purdy haters can shut up. I don't think he's a top 10 quarterback. I've never said he was, but the guy had the two biggest runs of his career on third down, 20-yard scrambles. So all these, I don't know why the media hates him so much. He's a good-looking kid from Arizona, last pick of the draft. I thought it would be a good story, but apparently the media hates him, and all they do is bash him because he's got weapons. So the fact that he made it to the Super Bowl, exercised the demons of the UCL injury last year against the Eagles on the second fucking possession, blah, blah, blah. It's a good story. The Chiefs, Mahomes is Mahomes. There's nothing we can do about it. That game falls so much more on the Ravens than it does on the Chiefs. Remember this. The Chiefs only scored 17 points and did not score in the second half, and the Ravens lost at home. They were a superior team at every position except for quarterback and tight end. And they literally scored 10 points at home. And the only touchdown they scored was on a broken play where Lamar looked like he was sacked. And because he got out of the sack, the guy was wide open down the field. Other than that, they kicked a field goal. He threw a pick in the end zone. He lost a fumble. Zay Flowers fumbles it instead of, diving for the line, instead of just getting down. You know what I mean? Their game plan made no sense to me. You're supposed to run the ball against the Chiefs because they don't have a great run defense. They didn't do that. And we have Chiefs Niners. It's a tip of the cap to myself. That was my preseason pick. I'll stay with it. Did I think it was going to arrive in the package that it did? Absolutely not. But it's, we'll see what happens. Beating Mahomes is going to be hard to do in the Super Bowl, man. I'm going to stick with my Niners because they're my favorite team, and I think they're significantly more talented once again at every position on the field except quarterback in this matchup because Kittle is every bit as good a tight end as Kelce, and we have so many weapons that Kittle doesn't get 15 targets a game like Kelce, but he's a better blocker. He's a better run blocker, better pass blocker than Kelce. So outside of quarterback, we are better everywhere. So it doesn't make any sense, but somehow the Chiefs will win. But I'm going to stay with my 49er pick. You know what I mean?
I expect nothing less. I would hope you would stay with that pick. Good call. Calling the Super Bowl, man. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I thought it was funny in the Ravens Chiefs game how Zay Flowers got the taunting call over L'Jarius Sneed,
Yep.
and Sneed's the guy who poked it out at the goal line.
Yeah.
Payback's a bitch.
Dude, it's that,
You lost 15 yards and you lost the fumble.
I just don't know how the Ravens, it just doesn't, like, they were so good all year to score 10 points at home.
Choke job.
Lamar didn't run the ball at all. Like,
was it a choke job?
Lamar didn't even run the football.
Or was it scripted?
Usually he runs the football. All of a sudden he just doesn't run the football. And then he broke through on that 4th and 1,
Yeah.
and there's nobody on the field as fast as him, and somehow he got tackled. Like, it. I mean, I feel for the Ravens fans because this was their year. Just in terms of talent.
Dude, they
all
busted
over the
out all
place.
the stops too.
Yeah.
Ray Lewis brought the team out. Terrell Suggs came out at the end of the third quarter. Like, they had everybody in line and they couldn't get it done.
Yeah. It's it's just crazy to say, but the Super Bowl matchup is set. It's a rematch of 4 years ago. We'll see what happens there. I ain't got much else to say today, buddy. Old pally, what do you got? Anything else?
No, man, that's it. Looking forward to getting back here for episode 97. We're getting so close to the Great One episode. I got some surprises in store for that, and I just can't wait. We're getting close.
You know what's crazy? We're more looking forward to the 99 episode than we are the 100 episode.
Yeah. I don't even like hockey.
And it's great because we got 2 weeks till the Super Bowl starts, right? So we got 2 weeks before the game. So next week we'll have a regularly scheduled episode, and then we'll have the Super Bowl episode. And then right after the Super Bowl episode is the Gretzky episode. So it's going to come fast. It's going to come fast.
It is.
So,
yep, for sure.
But anyways, guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Keep sharing the show and leave us a review. Let us know. I am not wearing a tinfoil hat. I am a modern day citizen who is a 49er fan. That's all I got.
All right, everybody, get out there, continue to live the full force life. Like, share, subscribe, do all those things for us. They help get the word out to other fathers and those that need to hear the message. So we'll see you next week.